Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Halloween Folio tutorial. I'm designing this project for ReneaBouquets. I will put a link below in the description box to Renee's shop and links to the products that I will be using. And I also put a link to the walkthrough of the completed folio. So in this part 3 we'll be working on the things that go underneath the center fold. And so this folds up here, and on the top here I have the Twilight number 8 paper. It's the back side of the cut apart 3x4 cards, and it's little jack-o'-lanterns with little diamond pattern. And I have taken the Beware stickers and mounted them onto black cardstock and fussy cut them out. I didn't go all the way to the edges because this is where the magnets sit that we put on in the first tutorial part. Oh, I think it was the first part. I'm not sure which, if it was part A or part B, but that's in the first part of the tutorial. And then on this bottom part here, I put this checkered paper, and both of these papers are 8 1/4 by 10 1/4, and so they cover up the magnets that we put on in the first part 1 tutorials. So I'm kind of I'm not 100% sure exactly how I'm going to finish decorating these pages, so but I did make a couple items that I will show you, and I will show you how to make them. So I have this little file folder here, and it's going to remain blank in the middle. It's going to be perfect for 4x6 photos with that 1/8" black border all the way around. And it will be glued onto a page, so I didn't decorate the back. So, and then I also have these little itty bitty file folders that I made with some stickers from the sticker number 2 sticker sheet. And so I will walk you through that. I was playing around with it, and so I don't have any more stickers to show you to do it again, but I will try to walk you through it the best I can. And so I'm thinking about maybe putting them, you know, I don't know if we want to angle them and just kind of have them on the page like that, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I have not decided, or maybe I'll choose to put them here somewhere. And anyway, so I haven't decided yet, but you'll see that in the final walkthrough. And so I'm just going to go ahead and teach you now in case I am using them in the finished folio. So we'll start with this large one here. So you're going to want to cut a piece of paper at 8 1/2 by 6 1/4. And you're going to score it down the middle at 4 1/4. So it's just going to fold up right in the middle. So go ahead and cut that, score it, and fold it up, burnish the edges there. And the pocket, and I'm just using this blue paper to demonstrate, it's really hard to see on the black. So on this piece of paper, you're going to cut 2 1/2, and then you're going to score a 1/2 inch on one side of that, and then you're going to cut this at 5 1/4, and then you're going to score a 1/2 inch on each side. And so you're going to fold that up, and of course you're going to put your tape on these edges here when they're folded out. You're going to put the tape there, and then once the tape is on, I like to angle my corners so I don't have that bulky stuff there, that bulky paper when you fold it. Sorry about that. I had sticky stuff on my scissors so it wasn't coming off. Okay, so you're just going to angle that at the corners with your scissors and then fold that up. And then with your 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 fold here, you're going to place the pocket on the front as it opens right to left. So it's going to be on the front here. So just tape it down like that. And so I'm just going to use my tape gun because this is just kind of a sample. It's kind of a throwaway. I don't know, I might keep it for something. I don't know. I got 2 different colors of cardstock here, so I got it. So you're just going to line that up onto your pocket like this. And there you have a pocket on the front. Okay, so don't use your tape gun, use Scor tape or whatever really strong tape you have. I just did that for demonstration purposes. Okay, so now you need a magnet for the magnet closure. And so from the opposite side of your pocket, you're going to measure 3 3 3/8. And then you're going to measure across from this edge here, 7/8. And that's where you're going to put your magnet right there. And then this paper, this dotted paper, and I call this brick paper. I know it's not really bricks, but it's just easy for me to say. So this dotted paper and this brick paper, this is the same paper, just the dots are on the other side of the brick. So you need to cut a 4x6 piece of this paper, and then you're going to cut on that 4x6 paper, you're going to cut it this way at 1 3/4. So from here to here, 1 3/4. And so this 1 3/4 by 4-inch piece that you have, you're going to glue the dotted side onto your pocket. And then you're going to have left over a 4 1/4 by 4 piece. So this 4 1/4 is going to go from here to here, tucked underneath the pocket. And so that's the paper. And for the tab here, these are from the sticker sheet number 1. Let me just make sure. Yeah, the sticker sheet number 1. So let me just show you the sticker sheets. You have sticker sheet number 2. And this is where I got the little file folder stickers at. And you can see I haven't really embellished much with the stickers. I usually kind of do that at the very end of after making everything else. And so here's sticker sheet number 1 has the banners, and this is sticker sheet. Did I say this was sticker sheet number 1? This is sticker sheet number 2. And then sticker sheet number 1 has the banners, and this is the piece we put on the waterfall. And these are the stickers that I've used for the tabs on this file folder. So how I like to make that is I have a little folded piece of paper. So I just take some black cardstock, and it can be, bigger than your tab. It can, just take a scrap and fold it in half. And so let me just pull out another sticker just to show you. I need a light colored sticker that I can use. Okay, we can use this little tiny one, and I'm just going to demonstrate with this sticker. So I'm going to put, so you're going to take the top of the tab here and put it a 1/16 of an inch away from the one side to and the top. Okay, and then you're going to fussy cut around the rest. So this piece here is up against the folded paper and a 1/16 an inch away from this edge here of the tab, and then I just fussy cut. Don't fussy cut the top, but I just fussy cut around here and on the bottom, so that I have a 1/16 of an inch of black all the way around. And then, so maybe you can see if I open up the other side that I have a 1/16 of an inch of that black paper on the bottom. See how that doesn't go all the way to the edge? It's because that tab bottom piece is right there. And so then once it's fussy cut out, then I have the perfect spot to glue the other side of the tab on. It's really hard to do these separately, cut them, fussy cut them out, and have them be perfectly even. And so you're trying to back to back two different fussy cuts. That doesn't work. That's why I folded over and fussy cut. And so that's how I did the tab, and then I just butted that bottom edge of the tab up against this 4x4 paper. And so it has that black underneath, and so that's why there's a black border there. And it makes it even with the rest of the borders around here. So when you're fussy cutting that black, make sure you're giving yourself, you know, a good enough amount so that it's kind of even with the other borders on the file folder. I hope that makes sense. So then you're going to find where your magnet is. You're going to be pushing down and finding where your magnet is on the front. Put a dab of your glue or your glossy accent or whatever you're using, and then snap that backside magnet onto place. And this will all be glued down to the page. So these little tiny file folders are very similar to what we did with the tab. So I cut a piece that is 3 inches wide by I'm gonna say I'm going to do 4 3/4. So it's gonna be 4 3/4. So it's gonna be, this is like 4 1/4, but I want my paper to start out 4 3/4. That gives me room to fussy cut. So once I have this piece cut to 3 inches by 4 3/4, then I'm going to score it. I'm going to score when it's laid out the long way across the top of the scoreboard. So here we have the 4 3/4, and I'm going to score this at 2 1/4. And so it's not going to be centered because I don't want it centered. We need a long side for the tab, and the shorter side is this side of the file folder. So you're going to score it 2 1/4. And then on the taller side, or the wider side of your score line, you're going to put a magnet right in the middle. So this is the longer, taller side, and I'm going to put a magnet right in the middle there. Then I'm going to take my sticker, and the same thing that we did with the file tab, except that the bottom is going to be lined up at the fold line. but I want that 1/16 of an inch border. I'm going to fold this up. I want that 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. So put your bottom part of your sticker up to that fold line with the 1/16 of an inch space in between that and the score line. And then once your sticker's on, then all you have to do is unfold it, unfold the paper, and fussy cut the top and try to match the distance between the sides and the bottom and what you fussy cut on the top. And once that's cut, then you'll fold your paper back over and so that back paper is going to be sticking out. And so what you're going to do is you're going to make a mark where the edge of this top piece with the sticker on it, you're going to make an edge on this back piece where that hits, and then you're just going to cut it so that this back piece and then this edge here are even. And so that's how you make these little file folders. So I hope that makes sense. I'm playing around with this, and then I'm like, oh, I should have waited and did a tutorial, but I hope that makes sense. So, and then I just matched the magnet onto the back, just like I showed you with this one. And so then you'll have all your little file folders, and I really don't know how, I haven't decided yet how I'm putting them on the pages, so I go back and forth. I know it's just you're probably, some of you out there saying just stick it on the page, right? Okay, so that's so I'll put my little file folders here. Maybe I'll put one in the pocket, and I'll put decorative paper on the back if I stick it in a pocket. I'm not sure yet. I might find some cute little thing to put there. And so that's the top there. And then the bottom, I'm thinking that it might be kind of nice to have one large picture. And so there is enough room to do an 8 by 10 picture, because this is 8 1/4 by 10 1/4. But I think if I do that, I won't have room to embellish. So I guess it just depends on what pictures I have, but I'm thinking of putting, I think I'd rather decorate it a little bit. So I'm thinking of putting 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 matte. So it'll fit a 5 by 7 with a little bit of black all the way around. So I think I'll put that there a little towards the bottom. And then I'm thinking of taking these scroll pieces from ReneaBouquets shop, and I will spray paint these black with a black satin spray. So any black satin spray that you find at the craft store or the hardware store should work. And then once they're spray painted like 2 or 3 times to get a really nice satiny smooth finish, then I will glue them. I'm thinking I will glue them onto the top because the magnets are here on the bottom, and so I can't really put anything on the bottom right here. So I'll put these on the top, and I think it's hard to see how pretty it's going to be when they're not painted black yet, but and then I'll put this here, and then I'll probably maybe put, you know, some stickers. I have this. I don't know if I would use this, but I do have this. And, you know, I have others, you know, I have this almost 2 full sheets of stickers here. So I have lots to choose from to put alongside this 5 by 7 mat. So that's kind of the game plan. I also have some of ReneaBouquets Halloween butterflies. Well, they're not called Halloween. These are called autumn. I'll have a link to everything on my walkthrough video and maybe on this video too. I have these really pretty fall Halloween looking butterflies, and so I'm just probably going to put them throughout. I'm probably put one here and one on the other side, and you know, some on top of this, like they're floating on this banner too, or they're sitting on the banner. And let's see, pull that down so you can see. I don't know, I haven't, you know, totally figured it out yet. So this is the part where you can get creative and do whatever you want on your folio. You know, because we've done all the basic construction of the folio, so pretty much everything that's left is the front cover and just your embellishing inside. And so on the sides here, I'm going to be using these witches from ReneaBouquets, and I have spray painted them in that satin black spray paint, and it really paints well onto this. Renee calls her chipboard beautiful board because it's not just your rough chipboard that you use to make an album cover. It's a very smooth, beautiful board that has a smooth finish on each side, so it's reversible. So I've got one witch going this way and one witch going this way, which I don't have out yet. So so there's going to be witches, and they're going to be kind of facing each other, and they're going to go right here in the center of these circles. So how fun is that? And I think these witches match perfectly with this Authentique Twilight paper. I just think the style of them and the theme of it goes really well. So I'm excited about these witches. And so that's it for the inside, and I just want to talk about the cover. I did a video showing how I made the clock piece for the cover, and so I'll show that to you, but I want to describe a little bit. I only got so far as to show you how to construct the clock in that video. I hadn't decorated it yet, and so I'm going to show you the decorated clock now and explain a little bit more about that. And let's see, grab these two pieces here. Okay. Sorry about that. You have to see me reaching over, getting my stuff. Okay. So the cover here, I have not put the decorative paper on yet because I thought instead of doing a regular, well, I've done this both ways. So I thought instead of just gluing it on the left, I would make it so the whole clock piece comes off. And I don't know why, I just thought it would be fun to take it off. And I had thought about making this a shaker piece, which would be really fun, but I decided not to do that because I'm going to be putting quite a bit of dimensional things on the pendulum piece right here, and so I didn't make it a shaker. But I think I want to make another clock, maybe in a different. Renee has different clock faces, so she has some with bees and roses, and I think there's like a Victorian style scroll or something. She has quite a few, and so I think it'd be fun to make this clock with some different pieces, and then I think I will try to make this part a shaker card as well. So this part wouldn't be decorated too much dimensionally. I'll put an acetate over that and make that a shaker card. But that's neither here or there, as they say, right? So anyway, so if you don't want this to totally come off, you can make this so that it's only whatever side you want to open it up. If you want to open it up this way, then just put your magnets on the left side. And so let me walk you through that. So in my first clock video, I show how to construct this clock by hand or using your software program for your electronic cutters. And so I'm just going to assume that you're doing it by hand and that you don't have a machine. So going forward, I'll be talking about that. So I show you how to make the actual chipboard pieces and how to do the paper. And in the other video, I talked about how I was going to cut my pieces apart and put them in segments onto the chipboard. And so I did do that, but you certainly could cut this out all one piece. And for this clock, I had the 8x8 paper pad, and I liked the smaller size of the pattern on the 8x8 pad rather than the 12x12. So I did cut mine out of that one piece of 8x8 paper from the paper pad. If you don't want to go and buy an 8x8 pad just to make this clock, you can use the 12x12 pattern. It's just a little bit thicker. And so, or you can just use any, you have a lot of paper left. Making this folio, there's a lot of paper left over, so you could just use any of the paper that you choose to cover the front and make your clock. And so once all this design paper was glued on, then I inked all my edges, then I glued this spiderweb paper on, and I wanted this to be on the back because I like the idea that my clock has spider webs in it. And so I did this paper here, and so this is a 5x6 piece of paper, 6 inches tall by 5, that once I did my cover and had inked all my edges, then I put that backing piece on that's right there. And in the first video, I don't say anything about putting the magnets on. So when you flip this over, you're going to have, and I think, and what I ended up doing is that sample blue piece of paper that I used to show you the clock, I ended up gluing that behind this paper here, just to keep, because I did my chipboard pieces separate. Now if you do them all in one big piece, you really don't need to do that. I just did that to keep my clock together, because I did my clock in separate chipboard pieces. So that kept my clock together. So after I glued this on the back, then I glued that sample piece of blue. So you could just trace a piece of scrap paper and glue that onto the back just to keep it in place once you've glued the spiderweb paper on. And then once all that's glued together, then you want to put magnets on. And so you're going to flip this over, and I've already covered my magnets up so you can't see. But when you flip this over, you're going to glue a magnet here on your pillar of your clock, or the side of your clock, and a magnet here, and a magnet here, and a magnet here. And so you can see I have the companion magnets right here. And then I realized that my folio was not full enough yet to keep this from falling in. So I decided I needed a magnets here and smaller magnets here so that it keeps this folio straight. So I had decided that to do that after I've already glued this on, so you can see my companion magnets on the back here. And also I have to cover this with some paper to cover that up. And so I have I'm thinking about using a cut apart card to stick on the top here. And then I cut a strip from there. There's a paper that has some strips, some design strips going across, and for some reason I don't know what I did with it. So anyway, that's going to go across the bottom right here and to cover up these two magnets here. So learn from my mistakes. If you want to have this clock come off and when you want this to set up nice and even, then you're going to need I use the basic gray big large magnets here, and those are here, the companions are here, and then I use these 4 little tiny magnets. They're about, I want to say, 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch diameter. Yeah, about 3/8. And so once all your magnets are glued on to your, and I would suggest that you glue the 2 basic gray magnets onto the back of your piece here, and then do the same process that we did in my previous tutorials where I show you how to place these leftover pieces from the Scor tape, the backing, and I usually set those down. Like here's the magnet here. I set them down on the magnet, put the companion magnet on the back, put the glue on top of the magnet, and then I set the magnet, I set the piece down where I want it and glue it on top. Now to keep this in place, I used and I have a lot of these, so I just happen to have this one down here to grab. I have plain ones, so anyway, so like maybe use a bulldog clip or any kind of clamp that you feel like won't damage the edges of the paper here, and use another clip here, and that'll keep it together. And then the other trick to this is to get a hardcover book or a couple magazines or something that are sturdy enough that it'll keep this in place without bending in. Can you see how it's bending in there? You don't want it to bend in when you're putting your clock on. So if you put like, you know, a couple books or something, or one book that'll fit in there. Oh, I went out of focus. Then you can keep that up. Okay, hang on. Went out of focus here for some reason. I think it's the light shining on those magnets or something. Okay, so that'll hold your folio up so that you can easily place your clock on. And the other thing you want to do before you glue that down is to set your clock where you want it to be and draw some lines and along the edges here and the top, so you know exactly where you're placing your clock, because you don't want to be figuring it out and moving those magnets around and having the magnets not be in the right spots. So once so you can see my lines here as placement guides where to put my clock. So once you've glued your 4 basic gray magnets down onto the back of your pillar and then glued them on to the folio, then you let it dry for a long time. Okay, you don't want these magnets coming off. And once I let mine dry overnight, and then that's when I placed these magnets. And the reason I didn't do it all together is because I really want these magnets in the right place to keep this. I wanted them as close to the edge as I dared. Now you have to remember you're going to have an 1/8 of an inch exposed because your decorative paper is not going to go up to the very edge. It's going to have 1/8 of an inch exposed there, so you don't want it super close to the edge of the folio. So place your magnets here and here where you want them to be, and then so you're going to do it in the opposite way. You're going to glue these first and then put your clock down and have your book underneath and make sure everything's in place, and then let that dry for a few hours, and then you're ready to go. So now once you've glued all your magnets on, now you're ready to put on your backing paper. Or if you really want to do it like I did, you can put these magnets on after, and you're just going to cover it with a strip of paper. And I chose the paper that had, I think, the bats on them, but you know, it's just a little strip of paper and I'm not seeing it here. So anyway, I might have put it back in the box so to keep it neat, but just I have a strip here. This isn't the right size, but you get the idea. I'm putting a strip here on the bottom. Actually, this one would be look cute too, these stripes going like this. So that's a thought too. And then using this to cover up the magnets on the top there. So anyway, that'll be the back, and I suppose you definitely could put a picture there instead if you wanted to hide a picture or something, be like a secret picture until you take the clock off. Now if you don't want to do that, just glue one side and then make sure you put your magnets on, and you'd really only need the two basic gray and then this one here if you're only gluing one side. And then once you've got your magnets on, make sure you put your backing paper on, and then it will look like that when you open it with that side. Well, you can magnet, I'm sorry, you wouldn't use magnets, you would use only the magnets on the side, the opposite side that you're gluing. So you're going to glue that down and then put your magnets on this side. So you're going to use 1, 2, I think you only need the 3. I don't think you need one top and bottom, but you certainly could do that. So that's that. And then this decorative paper that I'm using, once all my magnets are glued on, is this bat paper here. And I have a piece of paper. Okay, so now that I've got my magnets on, I'm ready to glue this paper on. So I will do that, and then this clock is going to go right here. So I'm going to kind of move this where it's going to be. There. So that is the front of my folio. And so I am, going to decorate my cover. I'm not really going to decorate this much because this is magnet on. But I think I'm going to do some corner pieces, and then I'm going to embellish the clock itself with a few more things. And I don't have the hands of the clock glued on yet. And so one more thing that I want to talk about the clock is on this piece here, I talked about cutting out a piece of paper and gluing it onto chipboard. I ended up just taking a 1/4 inch wide chipboard piece, and I think it was like 3.5 or 4 inches long, I can't remember. And I have a circle punch. It's a 1-inch circle punch that is a heavy duty punch, so it punches that medium weight chipboard. And so I punched this 1-inch circle, and then I kind of cut the end of this 1/4-inch piece on a curve so that that circle piece would butt up right next to it, and I glued that down really well, and then I spray painted the whole thing black. I didn't even treat it first. I just went ahead and sprayed it with the 2 or 3 coats of that black satin spray paint, and it just went on really well. That paint just made it nice and smooth and glossy kind of. And so then I had this pendulum piece, and so then I glued it onto this piece of paper, and then I cut out the 3.5-inch spiderweb paper here and glued it behind I used spray glue behind this clock once it was painted on the back side, and then I glued the paper on and then glued the whole thing. This came on last. Okay, and then I just have my hands to put on, and then I will probably add, you know, some little flowers or maybe some of ReneaBouquets Halloween butterflies. And so I will decorate the cover, and so you'll see that in the finished walkthrough. But this is the end of the construction tutorials. I will be posting the clock tutorial as tutorial number 4, and so so you kind of have to go back and forth and pre-make the clock so that you'll be ready for this step here. And so that's it. So if you have any questions, please leave me a message, and maybe if you have suggestions on how to do things a little better than I did, I would sure appreciate that too. So if you like this video, please give me a like, and thanks for watching. And please check out ReneaBouquets' shop and all the fabulous items that she has for Halloween, and she also has some really pretty fall and Christmas items as well. So I probably will be doing some projects with those coming up. So anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great Halloween. Bye.